Morning there, guys. Justin here on the Aztec, doing our tackle recommendation for the night. We're out here on the bank, doing a little bit of dropper loop fishing a little bit of squid that we jigged up here a few hours ago, and catching some absolutely gorgeous yellowtail. Simple fishing. We're fishing about 10 ounces of lead, 2-aught, 4-aught circle hook, heavy line. 40 pound, 50 pound, 60 pound. You can get away with the heavy stuff. It's the middle of the night. It's working. What pound's actually fishing over there? 60. Yeah, it works out pretty well. And there are some absolute slugs to be had. There you go. This is why you want to fish the heavy stuff.
Look at that shit.
We got some goodies. I think we got a black sea bass, a little over 200 pounds, but where's that magic? That's the magic. That's the good stuff. See you guys out here.
Okay, swing it over. Watch out, Axel. Swing it over.
Hell yeah! Woo! Dorado. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to absolutely beautiful Surfside, California this morning. This beautiful Monday morning. It is sunny. It is warm. The ocean looks absolutely beautiful. It is in some places, and it's windy in others. We'll have the weather forecast. We're going to go south of the border. How about a local dorado taken? Some white sea bass mixed up with some extraordinary yellowtail action. The Filipino mafia got all over it. We'll check out all the islands, the surf, and so much more. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. That is so good this morning. It's so great to be with you all. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few moments here and get caught up on sport fishing in Southern California and Northern Baja. Sometimes we venture off into other parts of the world also because there is a lot going on. Man, those orcas made a show for the Royal Polaris on their long-range trip. It was an extraordinary sight, and that's just one of the many great things you'll get to see when you get involved in sport fishing. Of course, we're going to have the long-range wrap-up also for you here this morning. Don't forget, hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you're able to do that. Also, if you share this video with a friend or an enemy, doesn't matter to us, we'd love you for that. Remember to subscribe to the Freeman Adventures YouTube channel right here. Tick that little bell, you'll be notified when there's new content. And there's so much more, including events that we're having on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. I hope you follow us all there. Speaking of some of those events, right here where I'm standing, this Saturday, Paulina will be coming up from Mexico. She's my co-host when I'm in Ensenada, and she is fantastic. She's coming here to do some surf fishing with each and every one of you. If you'd like to be here, it's going to be from 11 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. Just send me a text. I'll send you all the details, and we'll see you here Saturday on the beach with Paulina and her mom as they come up from Ensenada. Let's show her some hospitality here in Los Estados Unidos. 657-227-6459. And tonight, 6 p.m. live, is Tackle Shop Confessions with my dear friend Sam De La Torre. It is filmed live at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California. And you're able to ask questions about what's biting. You can get all the tackle recommendations you'll need. In fact, if you're trying to pair a rod and a reel together, you can ask Sam about that. And sometimes he'll run around the store, get that rod and reel, and then show you exactly how that all works together, or lures or any other techniques. Tonight, 6 p.m., Tackle Shop Confessions live. We'll see you for that show. All right, Let's start you out south of the border and just tell you that our friend Abdul Ryan is still down there with Manny Mercado and a couple of other guys in the Bay of LA, Bahia de Los Angeles, several hundred miles down the Baja Peninsula. They are experiencing a dream trip. They've had cabrilla, yellowtail, great dorado fishing yesterday, and absolutely pristine and gorgeous weather. I don't know how you can beat that. Up in the Ensenada area, really good fishing going on. We see a mix of barracuda, bonita. There's quite a bit of yellowtail around. There's calico and sand bass, and there's excellent rock fishing. That's only 70 miles down below the border. It's Paulina's home, the girl that is going to be up here on Saturday, my co-host from Mexico. So really great fishing going on. A lot of bird school yellowtail, so it's run and gun. It's that exciting kind of fishing where off in the distance you see the birds picking. They are picking at the bait that's getting forced to the surface by those hungry yellowtail. And you go over there, run as hard as you can, and then throw an iron on them, throw a lure on them. And that is such a great way to catch the yellows in Ensenada right now. Inshore, pretty darn nice. Offshore out of Ensenada, it's way more dicey. It's windy, and it's been tough to find anything that really wants to cooperate. There's still the occasional bluefin tuna, kelp patty yellowtail, kelp patty dorado, not that many, but a few. But again, most of that good action is there around Todos Santos Island or down the coast south, where you can go down to the Santo Tomas area, and that's been pretty darn good also. Let's talk long range, and as we told you, you just never know what you're going to see. What a show on the orcas for the Royal Polaris on their way down the Baja coast, down there around Alijos Rocks and several other Baja venues. Fishing has been fantastic for the 7 to 8 day, guys, and it's remaining that way. Great yellowfin tuna fishing on 50 to 80 pound YFT. They're right in the corner. You can underhand a bait with 80 pound and get a bite on most of those trips. The yellowtail bite has been spectacular. There's been pretty darn good wahoo fishing at times. Spectacular wahoo fishing. Really great stuff. And also there has been, when you go into the coast, some great yellowtail action, white sea bass, calico bass, and so much more. You name it, they've been catching it on the long range scene. It's been a spectacular 7 and 8 day range season for the boys here this year. It's been really, really great stuff. Hey, if you have unfiled taxes, you're going to want to call Tim Marquez. Make sure you do that right now. Tim will take care of everything for you. And for your heating and or air conditioning needs, John Lopez is standing by at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Those are two great Friedman Adventures family members. All right, time to talk offshore. And man, I'll tell you, this is perfectly calm and beautiful, and it's breezy offshore. And as you look at the extended forecast, it looks like it's going to stay that way for the better part of the week and actually kind of flare up out there Tuesday, Wednesday, right on into Friday. So breezy conditions. I talked to the guys on the Shogun, and they got flashed this morning at 3 a.m. on the nice grade yellowtail. Excellent fishing going on. I hope you like Captain Justin on the Aztec with the great tackle tips on how to catch those dropper loop yellowtail at San Clemente Island, as well as out there on the bank. They're fishing live squid. They're making enough squid to make it happen. And then out on Cortez and Tanner Bank and in Pyramid Cove, there's still some excellent flashes of yellowtail, nice grade, call it 15 to 25 pound, some bigger than that. Every once in a while, you'll get flash on the white sea bass. Also, there's been some really tremendous fishing. So Shogun in on some good bluefin yesterday. Not a ton of fish, but a good bite on 20 to 40 pound bluefin tuna and yellows this morning. The Thunderbird had the Filipino Mafia on board, and what a trip those guys had. I don't know if they bring a horseshoe with them, because it seems like they always have great fishing. Way to go, guys and gals, for that matter. $1.22 on the yellowtail, 122 yellows. That is some good fishing. 28 on the bluefin tuna, and a yellowfin tuna, just to let us know that it's a weird year and you don't know if you're going to have cooler water species or warmer water species. It's been really strange. Fantastic bite on the Thunderbird. Way to go there. As we mentioned to you, there has also been some good fishing for private boaters like Ernesto Valdepeñas. Ernesto had some great yellowtail action, and he graces the cover of the morning briefing today. You can't beat that. And on board the Legend, they not only had yellows and bluefin, but they got flash on the white sea bass, a Legend out of San Diego. Now, let us make this point right now that not everybody out there in Cortez and Tanner Bank is putting the wood to them. Like you go back a week ago, and it was limits, 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 and it's not that anymore. It's a lot scratchier. We're dealing with weather, number one. I think we're dealing with the full moon phase. Well, obviously, we have the full moon phase, but I think it's having a bit of an adverse effect on the bite. Maybe the fish moved off the bank for a little bit, and they'll move back on. But it's still decent fishing, and some guys still do come up with limits or a huge score like the Thunderbird did. That is awesome fishing. No doubt about it. The Condor had limits of bluefin tuna here recently, several other boats, and then other guys kind of scratching at it. Even on a 2-day trip, they're scratching at it a little bit more, and this weather adds a layer of nonsense to the whole thing because it's windy, breezy, and it's going to stay that way for the better part of a week out there on Tanner and Cortez Bank. Just so you know, boats like the Freedom out of 22nd Street Landing, been getting a piece of this, the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing. All those boys have also been getting a nice hit on the fish. So again, nice fishing going on out there for some, scratchier for others. Weather's up. We'll keep our eyes on it all for you very, very closely. Coronado Islands and surrounding areas, by that I mean guys are running down to the rock pile and then kind of venturing off looking for sonar marks, trying to find a kelp. Still some good yellowtail action down there for most of the guys. Over the weekend, you know, you get a lot of boat pressure and it makes things difficult. We're hoping it's going to bite even better here today. 25-pound fluoro is the best way to go. A good hot bait seems to make all the difference in the world. And also there's been some surface ironfish and some yo-yo ironfish. There's barracuda and calico bass also mixed up at the islands. Coronado Islands, perhaps one of the best years I've seen in a long, long time. At San Clemente Island, a lot of guys are going to be headed there because of this weather. I will tell you that. They'll seek refuge in San Clemente. Pyramid Cove, as mentioned, there's some good yellows there. There's still some squid there. There's a flash of white sea bass from time to time. And then as you venture around the island, you can find just as wide open a calico bass bite as you could possibly want. Pick off more yellowtail. You want to catch some rockfish, that is certainly in the cards. Scratchier fishing for the El Patron over there at Catalina Island. A little bit of barracuda saw, some yellowtail, a little bit of calico bass. But I'll tell you, that did not stop our dear friend who was over there with his grandson. And I'll tell you, you cannot beat Marcos Garcia and his grandson Logan, because they went out and fishing may not have been wide open, but they still had a great time. You know, as a grandfather, you can still show your grandson all the beauties of the Eastern Pacific. Hopefully that bite will get going a little bit better. On board the Pursuit, they had barracuda and sheephead. They had a ton of whitefish fishing Catalina Island and one yellowtail. So again, it's different from day to day over there at Catalina Island. What it has been characterized as is a few yellowtail and then a smattering of other fish. At times, it can be a lot better than other days. A lot of whitefish and rockfish over there if you want to focus on that. If you focus your attention on the surface stuff, it's been a little scratchier with a few barracuda, a few calico bass, kind of like that. Don't forget, the El Patron has great trips during the weekday for you, and you can jump on board by going to www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Get on the El Patron and have a really great time. All right, as we work our way up to the Channel Islands, we see some decent calico bass fishing at times. A little breezy out there now. Also a little bit of barracuda, but most guys falling back on the rockfish up there like the Island Spirit. With limits of rockfish, again, they've been putting the wood to it. You're fishing 300 feet of water or less right now. So you're fishing the shallow water stuff. And you can find some really great sheephead fishing and whitefish. It's been good on those species, and there's nothing wrong with that, going home with a nice full sack of fillets, hoping that we'll see another eruption on either the white sea bass or the halibut. We're keeping our eyes on that for you all very, very closely up there in the Channel Islands. Hopefully, we're going to see that kind of an eruption here very soon. Let's talk our local bite, 1/2 and 3/4 day. And how about that dorado fishing half day on the daily double out of Point Loma Sport Fishing? That was an exciting catch. In fact, they had another fish that followed that fish up, so they had a free swimming dorado right after they got that flathead on board. That's great stuff. The bass bite down there in San Diego has been great. In fact, the sand bass and calico bass bite seems to have gotten going in Ensenada. I was down there with Mackie, our camera guy and friend, and we had great bass fishing down there in Ensenada. And eventually that bite moved up the coast as it's supposed to do. It's supposed to move up right to here, but it stopped in San Diego. And they've been experiencing great calico bass fishing, great sand bass fishing, even a dorado now. I mean, that is really wild. Oceanside, there's been some good sand bass fishing out of there. Dale Shaw is a private boater, and he had a beautiful sand bass. Dale, nice going, my friend. That's a beautiful fish. Here in Long Beach and San Pedro and Redondo and the Santa Monica Bay, man, our bass fishing never really took hold in terms of any kind of consistency and daytime bite. And barracuda pretty much non-existent up here. It just has been a slow season for surface fish, and that leaves a lot of the boats here fishing sculpin and rockfish, as many of them did yesterday. The city of Long Beach did a lot of that. The Monte Carlo. Now, Walt, who runs the Monte Carlo, said, we fished sculpin. We had a lot of novice anglers on board, but the water looks beautiful. The conditions are perfect for a surface bite, and we have a great tank of bait, said Walt. They're going to give it heck and try to get a surface bite going here today. We'll let you know how they do. Hopefully that's going to come together. Wouldn't surprise me to see some really good bass fishing. Good twilight bass fishing there out of Marina del Rey. So keep that in mind also. The Island Spirit awaits you up there out of Ventura Sport Fishing. They do such a great job. Captain Daniel Hadaway is always there to make sure you have a great trip. And their crew and Bert and the galley, it doesn't get any better. Big, roomy boat. You can get on the Island Spirit and fish out of Ventura Sport Fishing, just like I'll be doing this Friday. You can do that by going to venturasportfishing.com, or you can give them a call at 805-676-3474. All right, surf fishing. We are going to be here on Saturday. You should be here too. By the way, if you don't want to surf fish, you want to come down and eat a donut or have a cup of coffee, well, bring some donuts, number one, and bring some coffee. But bring your lawn chair and kick back with us for a little while. I know you're going to enjoy it. It'll be a lot of fun to spend some time with all of you. Also, Big Fish Bait and Tackle right down there in the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. Don't you dare show up to that event without buying the ruler that you'll need to measure your prize catch on there with. It makes all the difference in the world. I do think, however, that it is, I don't know what the species is this month. It changes from month to month, and they give away a free custom rod every single month. I think it's spotted bay bass, and the chances of catching a spotted bay bass here are not all that good. But pick up your bait. Make sure you show up here with some worms and some, I would say worms would be your best shot. Lugworms or bloodworms, even better. And man, if we have this kind of condition on Saturday, we could really put the wood to them. Down there, Huntington Beach area, a lot of corbina. There should be some great corbina fishing here going on. A little bit of barb perch and an occasional halibut coming out of here also. You can still take advantage of that. All right, my friends, I don't know what to tell you other than it simply couldn't be more beautiful and gorgeous. If there's any way for you to get out fishing, get out and do it. Like Marcos Garcia and his grandson Logan. You know, fishing may not have been wide open, but those are special moments you get to spend with family members. And if you can't go fishing, man, I'll tell you, come down here to any beach and go for a walk or a lake or wherever it is you find yourself. Get out in the great outdoors. It will refresh your soul. It is so important to get out and enjoy this precious gift that we're all blessed with. In the meantime, have a great, beautiful Monday, and I hope to see you really, really soon.